Meadville High School graduate, 1988, which I'm very proud of. And then went from Meadville to St. Bonaventure, undergrad. Did 4 years at St. Bonaventure, and then went to Duquesne Law School for 3 years after that. So typically a lawyer does 4 years of college, 3 years of law school. In some non-traditional programs, it doesn't have to be like that, but usually that's the structure. And then right from there, came back and worked in Meadville as a lawyer right after graduation, even before graduation, really. In order to be a judge in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania at the position that I'm in, which is a Court of Common Pleas judge, you have to be a lawyer. You might hear people referred to as judges, and they are judges. They're called magisterial judges. In Meadville, it's Judge Pendolino you might hear a lot of, or Judge Marwood in Titusville. Judge Nichols in Titusville, Judge Marwood in Linesville area, Judge Zohaver in the Cambridge area. So they're judges, but they're not common pleas judges. They do not have to be lawyers. They actually have to take some classes and some certifications. To be a common pleas judge, you have to have practiced law and been admitted to the bar. So after I finished law school, I came back, I practiced in Crawford County. I did that at a number of firms, and then eventually ran for judge and was elected. The magisterial judges are elected just like we are. Common pleas judges get elected to a 10-year term. So I served for 10 years. And then after that, I get retained or not retained. It's a vote on whether you want me back or not. So I don't run for re-election like some people do. Magistrate judges, they run every 4 years. So they're required to rerun, and anyone can run against them. So it's a different race. To be a lawyer, which is a question you had asked me earlier, which I didn't answer all the way, you have to pass the bar exam. So after you graduate from law school, you're then credentialed and allowed to what we call sit for the bar exam. Once you sit for the bar exam, you have to pass a part that's a multi-state part that's in law of the United States, basically, and then a specific part to Pennsylvania law. Once you pass both parts, then you're allowed to become a lawyer. And then at that point, you can start to practice before the courts of the Commonwealth. The spark that makes you go every day is being able to solve the problems that are in front of you. So, there's that spark that makes you do your job, that makes it the hard days okay, but then there's a spark that just keeps you moving through the day. So that passion was there. That spark of being able to see immediate results and help. The spark that makes you go every day is being able to solve the problems that are in front of you. So, there's that spark that makes you do your job, that makes it the hard days okay, but then there's a spark that just keeps you moving through the day. Unpredictable is the simplest and most direct answer. In Crawford County, we're really fortunate. Right now, there's just Judge Spataro and I. Normally, there's 3 of us. And so there are 3 common pleas judges that do all of the criminal and civil work of the county. That means from adoptions to PFAs to criminal jury trials to motor vehicle accident cases to medical malpractice. We do it all. That's not the case in many counties, bigger counties. Even Erie, for example, they've got a lot more judges than we do. They have more cases. They don't have more diverse cases. They just have more. So their judges specialize. So their judges may just do civil work or may just do custody or criminal and with some overlap. We don't get that luxury here. So in any given day, for example, today, I walked into court today and I had sentence court. I sentenced 13 people today for various criminal offenses, which is never a fun day. Always tough to do. So I had sentence court. I go in at 1 o'clock for emergency custody cases. And then at 2 o'clock, I do a suppression issue on a motor vehicle stop on whether that was a legitimate police action or not. That's today. 2 days ago, I had a custody trial in the morning. In the afternoon, I had an issue that was completely related to an estate, someone who had passed away. So unpredictable for sure. Almost always in Crawford County in court. The bigger counties with more judges are able to schedule time for the judges to do work off the bench. So if you came in front of me for a case, we may argue about the case in the courtroom, but I'd be required to go back to my office and come up with the answers. We don't get that office time very often in Crawford. We try to schedule it in a little bit here and there, but maybe a half day every couple weeks is the best we get. So there's the work in court, which is almost every day, 8:30 to 4:30. And then the follow-up after that of what do we have to do with the work that we got. Think of it as homework, I mean, basically. So, if you were a kid and your teacher goes over the lesson in class and you understand it, you still have to go home and finalize the work, and you got to show your work. It's not the kind of thing where I can just say the answer's 12. So it requires a lot of writing and reading, and then cleaning up writing and reading. Cleaning up the writing more than the reading, because then that gets published. I mean, everything that I do gets sent to the parties at a minimum. It's eligible to be published by the local legal journal and also the state legal journals. And so, you have to write for an audience that you don't even know sometimes. So it really does take a refinement, and that's the more tedious part of, I know the answer, can't I just tell you the answer? And the answer is no, you can't. You have to explain it. If you just tell people the answer, it doesn't help them down the road. If you explain them the answer, then maybe you keep them from coming back, which is the ultimate goal. People are appreciative. Most of the time, not always, but most of the time, the people that come in front of me are there because they can't figure it out on their own. They've wanted to, they've tried, they've applied their best who they are to the problem, and they just can't do it. I don't have the answers. I'm not like I don't have a super secret answer key that nobody gets access to. It's just that I can say, okay, well, I've heard you now. And as someone who's not living it every day, here's what it looks like. And sometimes that helps them. There are times where you'll deal with a case that the case itself, the mechanics of the case, is really simple. It's just we've done it 100 times. But because of the drug and alcohol or mental health or family dynamic, it becomes very complex. If you're serious about it and you really think you want to go to law school, remember there's a lot of work ahead of you. You got to get through high school, and grades matter. Grades don't matter as much at the high school level maybe as they used to, because colleges are much more open to finding ways to get students in. But that doesn't mean they aren't important. And high school grades matter to law schools. So it's not like you close the chapter and now I'm in college, it doesn't matter anymore. Those things carry with you. So it does matter now. Be open-minded about the process, because you just don't know right now. I went to law school with men and women who are exceptional lawyers that weren't sure it was for them. And I went to law school with men or women that are not even practicing any longer, that it's all they ever wanted to be. So see it, try it, experience it, and then get a better sense. What I saw when I looked at myself was somebody who on the outside was very confident and very comfortable and was looking to have fun, but was not so sure of myself. So oftentimes I would answer questions on what do you want to do or what do you want to be by what I thought the right answer was supposed to be, not really what I was feeling. When you think back on that time, as a middle schooler especially, and then into high school, even the memories I have now when I think the story back, I thank God there was no video of it, because it's probably not what I remember. It didn't go that way. I was always a history guy. I always liked history. Not someone that was immersed in knowing the details of a battle or a war, but just kind of that, wow, different times were cool, different things were interesting. And so I enjoyed that. I'll be honest, I think now history would be secondary to me. I think that in today's world, if I was an 8th grader or a 10th grader or a 12th grader, I think current events are studied at a level that we just never did. Whether you're applying for a job or looking to meet somebody to go on a date or looking for a plumber, social media matters. And so you need to understand it, which I don't really understand well, but you also need to be smart about the way you manage it. In any given, I shouldn't say day, but that'd be an exaggeration, but in any given day, at some point in my life, at some point in that day, I think, thank goodness there was no social media when I was blank. And the reality is that that's what people have to deal with today. There always is a record. If you can think of the dumbest thing you've ever done and imagine if there was a video camera there that caught it and memorialized it forever, that's what social media is. Will it impact your employability? Yes. Will it impact your relationships with others? Yes. Imagine your new girlfriend's parents seeing on social media what you did as a ninth grader, or what you thought of someone as a ninth grader, and that's out there. And think, you're trying to put your best foot forward, and how is that possible when your ninth grade you made a record of something that you're never going to shake? So 11 years I've been on the bench. And in those 11 years, I can't think of a custody or divorce case that didn't involve evidence from social media. Whether it was evidence of infidelity or evidence of saying something bad to somebody else, or a kid reading a parent's text to the other parent about each other, it literally comes in to evidence in almost every trial that I do in that context. You won't see it again until the worst time, and then it'll come back. I would say you don't sweat the small stuff. The battles of today, when you're 15, are meaningless. They don't feel that way. I get it. Unfortunately, we live in a society now where they can affect you forever. That wasn't always the case. So not only do you have to not sweat the small stuff, but you have to not let the small stuff grow into really big things, because you don't want to be the 40-year-old man or woman that everybody remembers what happened in ninth grade. The highlight of your life should never be middle school. So don't make it be, by definition, the most important thing.